Hey guys, I'm Nick. Welcome back to my channel. I love Final Fantasy. I am a huge fan, all the way back to Final Fantasy 1 on the Nintendo back in the 80s. Played it with my dad. Final Fantasy 6 probably has to be my favorite of the series. Final Fantasy 7 is great. I love Final Fantasy 12. I can't wait for the remaster next year. And Final Fantasy 15 is coming out. And they just announced that tonberries and cactuars, two main staple enemies in the game, are going to be making an appearance. So I thought it would be fun to do something in the theme of one of these two guys. So today, on Fantasy Food Show, I have made these CACTUAR churros. Let me show you how it's done. Oh, before we begin, I just wanted to say that these are actually baked churros. Normally they're fried pieces of dough that you might find at the fair or the carnival, but I found this recipe from Gemma at gemmasbiggerbolderbaking.com.
To make your churros, you will need 1 cup of all-purpose flour, half a cup of water, 3 eggs at room temperature, 1 stick or half a cup of unsalted butter, 2 tablespoons of sugar, a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, some vanilla extract, half a teaspoon, and for the decorations, some green colored sugar. I'm going to mix light and dark green together. 1 teaspoon of ground cinnamon, some dark chocolate, or you could use candy melts or even some chocolate frosting, and some black fondant. Gemma suggests also adding a little bit of salt to your cinnamon sugar mixture. You'll also need 2 baking trays. I'm going to stack 2 of them together to help keep the delicate churro dough from burning when it's in the oven, and the top one I've lined with parchment paper. Some pastry bags fitted with a small round tip, a medium star tip, and a large star tip, a small whisk or a fork, a sharp knife, a large whisk, a spatula, a skewer, and you'll need to print out 2 copies of the template, which can also be found on the website. The first thing you'll need to do is to cut the template to fit the size of your baking tray. For this size, cut one of the templates in half and tape 1/2 to the bottom of the other sheet so you have 6 cactuars in a row. Then slip the template under the parchment and stack the 2 trays together.
Before I make my churros, I want to get started on the decorations. To make CACTUAR's signature spikes, I'm going to take a little bit of this black fondant, just break off a tiny piece, just roll it between my fingers, my finger and my palm here, to get a little long spike like that.
Make a bunch more spikes and then put them aside to dry out and harden. Now it's time to make the churros. Start by preheating your oven to 400 degrees Fahrenheit or 200 degrees Celsius. And in a heavy bottom saucepan, melt the butter over a medium-high heat with the water and salt. Bring the mixture up to a simmer and whisk in your flour. When it starts to form a dough, switch to a spatula and continue to mix for about a minute on low heat to cook out any raw flour taste. Then turn your stove off and set the pan aside to cool for a bit. In a separate mixing jug, crack your eggs, add the vanilla, and whisk together. Add your eggs a bit at a time to the slightly cooled dough. It's important to let the dough cool a little bit before adding the egg, otherwise you'll have a scrambly mess. Don't worry that the mixture breaks as you add more liquid. Just keep mixing until all of it comes together. Once the eggs are fully mixed in, spoon the dough into your piping bags. I found I needed a little bit more in the bag with the smaller star tip. Starting with the larger tip, pipe the bodies of the cactuar following the template, and use a sharp knife to cut the excess at the bottom in line with his left leg. Then, using the smaller tipped bag, pipe the arms and the legs. And rather than using a knife, just apply pressure with the tip to break off the dough. Then go back and using a wet finger, round the ends of the arms and legs. This dough is quite workable, and it holds its shape really well in the oven, so whatever shape they go in as, they're going to come out with. Gemma suggests adding a little dabs of water onto the churros to help them rise in the oven. So once you've done that, pop them into the oven for about 18 to 22 minutes, then turn the oven off and let them sit in there for an additional 7 to 10 minutes, just to help them dry out and keep their shape.
Alright, while my churros are baking in the oven, I've gone ahead and I've melted my dark chocolate, and the way I did that is I broke the chocolate up into small pieces, put it in a microwave-safe bowl, put it in the microwave for 1 minute on 50% power, gave it a good stir around, then 30 seconds at 50%, stir, 20 seconds, stir, and just do that till your chocolate's melted. Then I put it in one of my piping bags, which I fitted with this small round tip, put a clip at the end so that the chocolate doesn't run out before I'm ready to use it, and then the other end I've just put a little rubber band around, and I'll set that aside for later. Now I'm gonna make my cinnamon sugar. So I'm gonna take my 2 green sugars, combine them in my bowl. This should be about quarter cup to half a cup. Add in my salt and my teaspoon of cinnamon. And I'm just gonna give that a good stir around.
When the churros are done, take them out and let them cool off just a little bit before decorating.
All right, my churros are out of the oven. They're still warm. That's gonna make it easier for the sugar to adhere. Now, there are a couple of ways that you could put the sugar onto your churros. Gemma, in her recipe, puts the churros into a Ziploc bag and shakes them up. I find that because these are piped with arms and legs, they're rather delicate, so I don't want to put them in the Ziploc bag and have them possibly break up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my sugar and just pour it all over the tray. Just keep them right on the tray and make sure you get it into all those little crevices.
Sprinkle a generous amount of the cinnamon sugar mixture over the cacturs. Take the skewer and poke 3 holes at a slight angle on the top of the cactar head. Then take your fondant spikes and gently insert them into the holes. Then use the melted chocolate, candy melts, or frosting to pipe on the eyes and mouth and his signature surprise expression. Now he's sweet, spiky, and cinnamony.
Here they are, the finished CACTUAR churros. I think they're so cute. Thank you so much to Gemma at gemmasbiggerboulderbaking.com for the recipe. I'd love to see your ideas. Make sure you leave a comment below, subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up, and check out our website, fantasyfoodshow.com. And we'll see you next time.